Yesterday, the Minister of Finance, Malusi Gigaba, presented government's Inclusive Growth Action Plan, consisting of 14 key areas of intervention to turn around an economy in the grips of a technical recession. This was held at the JSE in Sandton. The plan provides the leaders of projects in the form of cabinet ministers and sets timelines for interventions across multiple sectors, which is a big addition to the goals. Minister Gigaba joins us now from our Hatfield studios in Pretoria. Minister, thank you so much. Thanks very much for being our guest and taking the time to talk to us this morning.
You're welcome, Leanne, and good morning to our listeners at home.
So, Minister, we talk about timelines because this is something that is vitally important. You know, at a time like this, in the economy that we find ourselves in, it's the deadlines that people are looking for action. So, you've set a deadline for early next year, is this correct, for most of your 14-point plan to come through?
Well, some of the timelines are immediately applicable. There will be those that are applicable now in July, which affect, for example, the changes in the regulations of the PPPA, the matters relating to the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Amendment Bill, the Mining Charter and other areas. Some are applicable in September this year. There will be those that I will talk to during the medium-term budget policy statement. So we've looked at a comprehensive rollout of the program that we were announcing in response to the technical recession and the issues that the investors, the ratings agencies and South African businesses have been raising. It's quite important that South Africans, especially the South African government, should demonstrate leadership, that as South Africans we should demonstrate unity in action and unity of purpose, that government, business, labor and all stakeholders should act together to make these urgent interventions that are going to uplift our economy.
After people obviously heard what you had to say and reviewed these 14-point plans that you brought through, a lot of people felt that there was nothing new and that in fact in a time that we find ourselves in as a country, we needed more action and we needed more from you. How do you feel about some of those criticisms coming your way?
Well, it's quite a fair criticism. As I say, the issues that we were announcing are matters that have been in the public domain that business has raised concerns about, because ultimately you want business to grow confidence and invest in the economy. They have been raising concerns about certain policy uncertainties, not getting any commitment, particularly from government, with regard to the implementation of these 14 policy areas and the timelines by which these issues will be implemented. And that certainty is quite crucial to unlock the balance sheets of the private sector so that they invest. We need to boost investments. That can only happen if there is business confidence. So many of the people are economists themselves. They operate in the same environment. There is no earth-shattering announcement that we would make that they are not aware of or are not expecting. But obviously, as we indicated in the statement yesterday, the issues we were announcing relate to matters which have already been raised with us at various levels as government. But going forward, the medium-term budget policy statement becomes an important area for us to make any additional announcements and through the policy processes of government and the ruling party, we will also be continuing to look at whether there are any other additional now more overarching announcements we should make. Yeah. But we should be wary as South Africans of making announcements of policy programs over policy programs. We already have the National Development Plan, out of which we have drawn the 9-point plan. And so we shouldn't try to make any additional programmatic announcements that are going to carry the promise that they will be implemented either parallel or outside the policy programs that are already there. We should avoid duplication.
quite a big focus of your plans, and in fact it's 6 of the plans include state-owned enterprises, and these of course are the biggest concern for the ratings agencies. Whenever they talk about South Africa, the great concern is the performance on them, the reliance on government, the bailouts, which we've seen at SAA, the post office. You're hinting towards Eskom that may be in a bigger financial state than it could be. Where's the way forward for these state-owned enterprises?
As you correctly say, Leanne, there is a lot of work that government is doing in order to improve the shareholder governance model, to improve the governance of individual state-owned companies, to address their financial difficulties and improve their developmental mandates. It is quite important for us that during these difficult times, on the one hand, we improve the governance and the financial health of state-owned companies, and on the other hand, we position our state-owned companies as critical players in infrastructure rollout. Because even as the economy gets constrained, we need to continue investing in a counter-cyclical way in infrastructure rollout so that we can boost confidence, get the economy going, get employment happening, investments. We localize on the back of that, on the back of the procurement programs of our capital expansion. And so the state-owned companies hold an important key in the work that we have to do. And that's why we're looking at a number of other things we need to do in addition to governance and the financial health. We're looking at private sector participation. We're looking at identifying the non-core assets that if they were to be identified and there was an agreement on, we could then dispose in order to strengthen both the balance sheet of the state-owned companies as well as the national fiscus.
Minister, obviously, for the interest of time, I think many of the viewers can go through and have a look at this 14-point plan you've put together. But I think what was quite interesting, in which I'm sure you were expecting during the press briefing yesterday, a barrage of questions about corruption and the faith that has been lost by international investors into South Africa, and private entities looking elsewhere to invest their money and to take it out of South Africa because they're just not confident in the government and the governance. And with everything we're seeing coming, one can in a way understand. What are you doing to fight corruption, and how is this hampering your job?
In actual fact, to the contrary, South Africa remains an attractive investment destination on the African continent, among African countries, as well as among emerging markets. So the investors are saying to us, yes, we are concerned about the slow growth of your economy, we are concerned about state-owned companies and the contingent liabilities, the government guarantees. We're concerned about the constrained revenue collection in government and your ability to finance the revenue side of the budget, and whether you will be able to meet your fiscal framework and your budget ceiling, whether you will commit to fiscal consolidation. But we remain committed to the South African economy because it's the most advanced economy on the African continent. They are concerned about corruption. We are concerned about it too. And that's why it's important that the commission of inquiry that has been proposed must take place and deal with all the issues which have been raised, to clear those who need to be cleared and take action against those who need action to be taken against. I think at this time we need to deal with corruption all round, both in the public sector as well as in the private sector. And that's why the Competition Commission continues to play an important role in dealing with corruption in the private sector. And so all of us as South Africans must work together to ensure that corruption is eliminated in our area, because indeed it impacts negatively on business, on investor perception about South Africa, as well as on our ratings grading.
Yeah. Certainly. Minister, we have to leave it there for this morning, but thank you so very much for talking to us this morning. And, of course, October is midterm budget, so we look forward to the Minister having some deliverables for us there. But the 14-point plan is out. The vision of our new Finance Minister, Malusi Gigaba, is there to be read as well. Let's take a break, and we'll see you after this, talking about SABC and policy reviews. Do stay tuned.